Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Caesar. Welcome back to City Skylines 2 and to White Pine County. Now, recently, what we've been working on is, well, expanding the beginning of our city. We're at 33,000 people. Our city's looking pretty beautiful, if I do say so myself. Obviously, there's always room for improvement and things like that. But I'm kind of ready to take a break from our main city section and move on to something a little bit new. I've been looking at our resources, our natural resources, and I've been seeing a lot of farmland all over the place. And I was thinking, why don't we start like a rural looking farmland, right? Like a rural area to build and start building a little bit of a rural town. I said rural like 97 times during that sentence, but don't mind me. And I figured, why don't we move over to this island here? And I know it's pretty close to our main city, but I think having some farmland here with a nice small town kind of spreading out in this area would look really fantastic. And I think would look really fantastic with this existing roundabout that's already pre-built with the map. And I think it'd be just the no-brainer spot for it. So that's what we're going to do today. We're building a rural town, and it's going to have a beautiful view of the city. And over here is going to be nothing but low density, everything like that. Nothing high rise is going to be on this little island. And you'll see how it expands. I don't really have the full plan yet, but I know kind of what I want to do with it. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So we obviously need to be mindful of where our fertile land is and avoid building on it too much. Obviously, we're not going to have much choice in some places, like when we start building our roads here. But we don't want to like zone houses, for example, on prime fertile land, right? We want to preserve it as much as we can so that we can build some pretty massive farms here, which is kind of the goal. So I'm going to extend this road this way and just kind of send it off in that direction. We're going to start off with our farms here, and that's about it. We're not going to put down any houses yet. I want to get our initial farms going before we do anything else. So we're going to go into our industries. We're going to go into our specialized industries, exactly. And we're going to look at some grain and vegetable farms. And I think a good place for some grain would be probably over here. I kind of like how the area looks. And that's pretty much the only reason I chose that spot. I want to maximize the efficiency for it. Obviously, I could put one farm down and kind of do it that way, but I'm always a fan of splitting the land up and having two farms here, sharing the land a little bit, and I kind of like how that looks. So we're gonna go and put a road here. Gonna get a nice curve here. Try to get it as close to 90 degrees as possible. If you ask me, that's pretty accurate, and I'm gonna go with it because I like it. Now we want to make sure we have power and water running in this area. Obviously, naturally we don't because of where we are. So what we're gonna do as a temporary solution, we're going to go ahead and get a substation here, and we're going to collect this via power line, keep it underwater power lines will just be a fantastic way to do this. Bring this all the way here, and then we're just going to connect it to our existing system just as an easy solution, and this will probably change down the road as we expand. But I don't want to go too deep into it. So this kind of works. Now, we need sewage and water in this area. This seems to be the closest route we could take without going too far. So we're going to go ahead and just cross the water here, make a nice connection there, and now we have water and sewage taking care of this area. So what I'm going to do, specialized industry, like I keep saying, I'm going to go into our grain farm, and we're going to put this one about here, and then we'll do one more on the exact opposite side of it, and then, oh, we got a dairy house. Oh, that's pretty. Look at that. More farm stuff for us to put down is all I'm saying. It's pretty. What is 2% industry efficiency wide plus 2% export profits? This is going to boost our economy when we get this building down. Okay, now we got a plan for that building to be in this area. And I think that's going to be completely fine as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and start expanding this as much as possible. And we want to be as efficient as we can while also maintaining a good look. I don't really like how they have a giant circle. I wish that you could do some more square shapes, if that makes sense, with your land here. So I kind of lose out on a bunch of land just because I want the more square shape. And some of you are probably thinking this is such a waste of space, but I like how it looks. And it's not going to let me because it goes to the end of the road. Okay, so maybe ignore what I just said there. We might have to go circle for now, but with other farms that we build, we'll try to go with more of a square shape and kind of make it fit the area a little bit nicer. And I think it'll be a fantastic way to move. We'll leave that gap there for now, and we'll go over here to this side. Make sure all of this is expanded to the edges. There we go. If you're anything like me, sometimes these weird curves give you issues trying to get it to the very corner, like especially when you're going around roads. So I'll go over a little bit of a strategy that I use to make snapping things around edges a lot easier, but it's nothing too difficult, that's for sure. There we go, just like that. Get some farmland rolling there. That'll look fantastic. Again, I'll leave this gapped here, just like that. Nice straight line, because we'll squeeze in another farm here, and it'll take part of this land up. So just like that, we got our first 2 farms for the area. They're both grain farms, and next thing I want to start looking at is some vegetable farming, because vegetable farming kind of makes sense to have here. So go like that. Bam, 2 farms here. Obviously, it's not the full maximum area that we could be using, but I think it kind of works. And I'm going to leave it like that because of that. So we'll take this to the edge here, and we'll take this one to the edge here. Not going to be able to, so we're going to have to do this in small sections to make sure this really sticks nicely here. I'm going to turn off snapping because it makes it a little bit easier to make it look more attractive. There we go. That right there in the corner, that'll be fine. And with this, we're going to just round it around. Oh, why is that doing that? There we go. Follow this all the way around, and then eventually we'll get a nice connection there. Maybe not. Can we connect this? There we go. That looks fantastic. I like how that looks. I really do. And we're going to take this all the way to the edge here. Oh, maybe if this will let us. Something like this. There we go. And again, follow this all the way around, just maximizing the amount of space we're using here. And circularizing. I don't even know what I'm saying. Making it circular. Without taking too long to do this, of course. There's no need to sit here all day. But I like how this lines up pretty well. Can we bring this up a little bit? We can't. Can we get rid of that node? And then bring that node right there. Looks a lot better. Makes it look like it belongs a little bit nicer. Perfect. And I'm really enjoying this so far. I know you're probably like, what is he enjoying? There's only like 2 pieces of farmland, but I enjoy the process of building a new town, okay? I guess that's what I mean with that. And there we go. And you don't gotta watch me do this part. I'll speed up a little, couple seconds. All right. Grain and vegetable fields, just like that, perfectly lined up. I'm actually already enjoying how this looks. You can already see traffic starting to head in this area, which is really cool to see. Maybe that's just regular highway traffic for now. Regular highway traffic for now. But it will be actual things like that. Employees are already getting filled up, which is really fantastic. And now we got to start filling in a little bit of clusters of homes. Nothing crazy. We're going to try to keep this kind of spaced out. We don't want this to be like a massive suburban sprawl, right? Like, we don't want that. So we're going to go with something like this. And we're going to keep bending it around just to kind of follow the curvature of the field. And I think it'll be fantastic to do. There we go. Bend that up now. Just like that. Keep bending it over. Just like that. Perfect. And then from here, what I'm going to do is just kind of roundabout a bunch of different things. You'll see what I mean by that. I think we'll roll this way, and then we'll do another that kind of scrolls that way. Have a bit of a connection from here. just like that. And then one more probably there. And I think that's all I'm going to do here. Now, instead of just zoning the entire area, I think I'm going to strategically zone certain parts of this to kind of fit the area a little bit, right? So we don't want a billion houses here wrapped next to each other, because that's kind of defeats the purpose of what we're doing here, right? So we're going to go in here and zone in with purpose. So I guess first thing I want to do is build a bunch of small roundabouts. I really enjoy the roundabouts, even if we're not going to make this dense. I like the style of the roundabout. I think it always looks really cool. So I always put them in. I think it's just fantastic. Now we're going to zone in certain lots, not every lot, right? And we're going to do that on purpose in order to get some more unique lots. And we can actually just go with the mark tool and kind of just zone out like this, skipping a few squares here and there. And I think that'll be fantastic on its own. Something like this. I want to avoid houses next to each other. So we're going to go ahead and D-zone that house. And we're going to go ahead and D-zone this one. Let's get our snapping modes back in, because this is kind of causing it to be a little bit weird. There we go. And again, over here, just a couple of houses. Okay, let's get rid of that. We'll go with something like this or something. I wish the game would just cooperate and build what I want it to build. Maybe that'll just build one house. There we go. Follow this all the way through like that. Leaving gaps in between houses. There we go. And you'll see why I'm doing this, right? I'm going to squeeze in a little bit of commercial in some of these areas, but it's not going to be anything crazy. I think having a couple of houses next to each other like this would have probably be fine. So we could call this our like town, I guess, right? And then we can put in a couple of small commercial lots that will kind of make sense in this area. So let's get. I know what's going to zone here, and I don't like it already. So I'm going to go with something like this, just so these houses have a place to shop. This makes a little bit of sense, right? And we'll go with something like that. We're not going to do insane density of commercial here. We're just not going to. It's going to ruin the area, and I don't want to ruin the area already. Strong possibility that we can do that if we're not careful. So we're going to be very careful as we do this stuff. Again, start putting in a couple more houses on this main street here. A little bit of density here near the stores. That's fine. And the rest of it, we'll just kind of zone in manually to make sure we keep that density down and keep that rural feel to it. Houses a little bit spread apart. You know, your next door neighbor's going to be a couple, you know, I'd say miles, but I'm not going to do miles here because I'd run out of space. So we're not going to do that. Let's get rid of this real quick, and we'll rezone that to 3x4. And then let that zone in as a house. Can we get rid of those? That works. We'll get rid of this one. We'll keep that one there. And then we'll get a couple more houses here. One more here. That'll be fine. Now we're going to see this expand a little bit. And as we have this new area, obviously they're going to have demands for services and things like that. So we got to start being mindful of those things as we start. Because if not, we're going to see ambulances and cop cars coming from like 9 miles away to service this area. And that's not something we want. So we got to start thinking about where we're going to put those services and making sure we can provide those services for our townspeople before they're needed. So maybe something like that. Then I don't want to add density, so why? Of course it zones something like that. We'll do a 4x4. Nope, 4x5. Is that what I'm looking for? There we go. One house, not multiple. There we go. Do something like that. Hopefully I can keep the shape. There we go. We do a few houses there. And one across the street will be fine. 2 across the street, that's fine with me too. There we go. Probably shouldn't zone on this side of the road, but I'm going to leave it anyway because I already zoned it. We'll just fix the terrain around the houses a little bit. That'll be fine. Something like that, and then we'll just smooth it out. And that'll be perfect. Houses will build out nicely, and it'll kind of make sense there. So I want to look at a bit of a rural, like, police station and sheriff's office, and we'll use this area here as, like, our city services campus. And I think that'll make sense a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and grab our 2-lane road. We're going to make a connection here. And we're going to just drag this out like this. Something super simple. We'll make a connection. Can we keep this 90 degrees? Please. There we go. And what we're going to do is we'll get a small police station. Something like that. We're going to get a small clinic right over here. And we're going to get a cemetery in here for sure. Just got to figure out where. But again, we're going to get a nice little firehouse connected to the clinic. There we go. This will be our city services for the area. I also want to get a bit of a cemetery because I feel like an area like this deserves a cemetery over a crematorium. And I want to make sure it's in a nice area. So I'm thinking maybe over here would be a nice area. That's a possibility. But what I'm going to do with this area here next is I'm going to start squeezing in a bit more farmland. So go back into our industries and start looking at some, what was it? Some textile fiber farming. I think right here would be a good spot for that. And something like this. And I think that's a good spot because I want to square this land off. I don't want it to be round. So the way I'm going to do that is by, well, obviously just keeping it square, right? But I want to be kind of careful about it, right? So I want it to follow this back end of the houses. So it's like your backyard. It's kind of the beginning of the farmland. And I'm going to roll with that and just call it a day with that. Like that works. There we go. And then once that square piece is up there, we can match that to about 90 degrees, something close to it. Doesn't have to be perfect. Something like that works. And then we can roll this down all the way to the bottom here. Make this connection. We get a little bit of a square field. And I like the look of that without having some weird circular stuff that we're forced to do. And I also want to, of course, just because we're in a new area does not mean we're going to stop playing with our trees. So I'm going to go ahead and grab our cultivated green bush number 2 because it's my favorite tree. And we're going to put it at 5 meters away from each other. And we're going to start kind of zoning this out. This one might be a little too small. Maybe number 3 would work a little bit better. How small is this? That's really small. I think we'll go with cultivated. I think we'll go with this one just because it's a little bit bigger. And we'll just squeeze as many bushes as we can here. Just like that. Now grab this one next. Same thing all the way the heck around. Make sure that's connected. I hope they add churches and things like that down the road. Because I feel like some churches would fit these kind of areas like this. I feel like, small town has a church in it. Everybody goes on Sundays type of thing, And it's kind of like their community center in a way. And I think that'd be really sick. You can already see traffic starting to roll through here. And I really want to avoid heavy traffic. So I'm hoping we can be as careful as possible without welcoming in a bunch of city traffic. Because that's the last thing we want for this area. I want this to be a low-key place. The highways and maybe the main road can be kind of heavier on traffic, but I want like our residential zones, our farmlands, and things like that to be pretty light on traffic. I think we're going to paint a district here and do a heavy traffic ban just to prevent anybody from coming in here and causing a little bit of a mess and maybe providing a little bit of support on that end. I know like trucks and things like that will be forced to come through here, city services and things like that, but I'd really like a place where it can just be kind of our residents and stuff like that, right? So we'll see if we can do that. I've never actually really messed with the city policies or the district policies. I don't really know if you can ban heavy traffic all the way and see what that does. But it's something I want to play with. So let me go ahead and finish this and then we'll continue. There we go. You can't tell me that doesn't look great. Just having that bit of, vegetation around the area, around the land like that just looks so clean to me. And I've always done that and I just think it looks so cool. That or I do a small tree like the linden trees. I'll try to do some of those around the area, but I try to just keep the most low-key thing I can possible in areas like this. But I think this just looks phenomenal. Nice scattered spacings between houses, and I really like that. I definitely got to get a little bit of a park in here because we'll start complaining. And I'd like to get this campsite in here, but not here. We'll put the camping site somewhere else. Maybe back here into this forest area kind of makes sense. And I want to get that as like our city park. I feel like this area would be kind of nice to camp in. So we'll get our road here. We'll just bend this way. And let that kind of meander out that way. And then we'll get our park. And I feel like this campfire site just kind of fits this area very nicely. Bam, just like that. And is there another park that would fit this area too? Just kind of make this a little bit bigger. I don't think we really have anything. Sports parks wouldn't really make sense in this area, in my opinion anyway. Oh, maybe a little bit of a playground here would look nice with this area. Yeah, I think that looks really sick. I'm not even going to put a path around this because I love how it just kind of blends in with the land, and I think that something like that would just be really cool. We're going to get a little bit of a parking lot in here just to make sure they have parking. We'll get a wide one maybe. No, we'll go with a modest parking lot. I really like how these look. It's a really neat asset. And then we'll go with a little bit of a motorcycle parking there. And I think that really fits the area. Now with the parking lots, I'm going to put a little bit of bushes around it just because I think it'll look a little bit nicer. And I think bushes around anything always look phenomenal. So hopefully this looks phenomenal too. And if it doesn't, then I'll go sulk somewhere in a corner or something. Get the connection there. Grab this bush here, bring it to this corner, drag that there. That's fantastic right there. I like that a lot. That's fantastic, actually. There we go. That's about it. That's all I want to put in this area. Not much else. We obviously need a little bit of a postal office, so we're going to go ahead and put it over here in our city services section. Right there works fantastically. And just to fit the entire area, we're going to go ahead and get a medium parking lot. We'll get a large parking lot. We'll put this here, and this can serve all of our services. And I think that'll be fine. And I think a good place for a small elementary school might be here. Or maybe I'll put this somewhere else. It's a possibility that we'll put it somewhere else. All right. I think we have a really good start so far. Really enjoying how this is looking. Now, I want to continue on with our farmland and start working on the next section of our town, which is obviously going to be, I don't know exactly. I'm going to have to see where our farmland ends up. We're going to get one more textile farm in here, and I think it'll really kind of square off the area. And I think having the two farms next to each other just kind of makes more sense. I kind of regret doing this medium road. Kind of wish I did a less density road, like just a regular 2-lane road. But we're kind of too far in to do that now, so we're not going to. I guess I could downgrade, but it's not really worth it in my opinion. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get into our specialized industry, get a textile farm like this. Make sure the top right corner up here, make sure that circle is within that square so we can connect that up. And then the two farmlands can meet up and just be one giant rectangle. And that'll be really cool to see. Just like that. Super simple and clean. Look at that. I really enjoy how this is turning out. How does 90 degrees look? I think that looks fantastic. 90 degrees here and 90 degrees there. And just like that, two more fields looking fantastic together. And I think all of this looks really, really good. If we look at our production, this is probably skyrocketing. Yeah, we're producing so many vegetables. And the next thing we're just slacking on big time is obviously some wood. And we're missing out on livestock. So we could always up that significantly and make even more of a profit on that. Next little bit of housing I want to build is probably in this section here. I think that's a good place for it. That's what we're going to do. And as you notice also, this traffic here is very, very minimal. And I'm just loving how minimal that traffic is. It's just keeping everything nice and casual. Nothing crazy, nothing dense. It doesn't have to be insane. We do need a post office box in here so our mail service can service this area. We'll put one here on this road as well. I think that'll be fine. And we'll probably do one more here just to make sure that's covered. So when our mail trucks come around, it's all nice and covered and we don't have to worry about it. So I obviously said I want to leave room for our cemetery. And I think building a bit of density here, right? I'm saying that lightly because I know we're not going to go dense, but a bit of a more built up area, part of the town where we can have like a town square, and that town square would include the cemetery. I think that would look fantastic. We're just flattening out a bunch of area here because it's easier to build on flat land. It's not realistic at all, but I don't know. I just want to build in flat land and not have to worry about any terrain limitations. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a 2-lane road, and I say we run it from maybe from here. We're just gonna run this maybe 400 meters. That'll be fine. Oop, bring that back a little bit. Okay, that bent on accident because I have one of the bend tools. Select this. I want to get rid of that again, and go back in here. Just select our straight road tool, and again, just 400 meters, as close as we can. Actually, perfectly 400 meters. And then we're gonna build out a little bit here. So here's what I'm thinking. I want to build a cemetery, obviously. And I think here at the very end of this kind of makes sense for this. We'll go 112 there, and we'll go 112 here. I don't know if that's going to be big enough or too big or too small, but it's a start. And we're going to get our cemetery, and we're going to place it right here, pretty much even on that spot. Now, before I build anything else, I also want to get the columbarium, a sort of wall storing the cremated remains of the deceased. Because I think that'd be pretty cool. Even this like temple thing. Like, how cool is that? I think that's really cool. Does this go on the inside? No, it goes on the outside. Can I put all of these like on kind of like... There we go. Now this is very expensive, right? But I think it's just going to look fantastic. We could obviously squeeze more of these buildings and things like that, but I don't think we need to. Well, maybe. No, this just seems like a very unique building, and I don't want to have two of those. I feel like that doesn't make sense to have two of those. I want to move these, though. Let's go ahead and move these kind of more central with the building, and I think that would look a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and move that. Lock it in about right. Okay. We'll go with there. Now, see, that's going to bother me. I hate how it's not perfectly lined up. And there we go. That's more lined up. I think that looks great. We'll keep the temple over here just because I feel like that's really cool. But I'm pretty sure this turns it into a tourist attraction now, doesn't it? Sightseeing tour. This thing right here becomes a sightseeing tour. Part of a sightseeing thing. And we're going to really make this place attractive before we start bringing in any residential zoning into here. And that'll be really great. And the reason I have a cemetery is because I just like how they look. And I feel like they fit the area a little bit better than, well, like a crematorium. But I get why we use crematoriums for like your cities and things like that. You kind of need to, right? Because if you don't, then you get into a point where you can't process the deceased fast enough, and your cemetery gets full, and you end up kind of falling behind on it. Plus, they provide less vehicles, and it's never a good thing. So, running this path around here, and I can bet you probably already know what we're going to do with this path connection coming through here. And if you can't guess, then you're clearly not a big watcher of the of the channel. We're going to go into our vegetation, and we're going to grab our lindens, and we're going to grab our line tool, and we are going to... Oh, helps if I can click on that again. Get rid of all that stuff. Get our line tool there. We're going to go 10 meters apart for these lindens, and we're going to put these all in, and it'll be fantastic. There we go. Go all the way through, just like that. We'll go 10. Yeah, we'll leave one tree out. And just always, a line of trees on your paths always make an area look better. Even if it just seems like, isn't that just like a super basic thing to do? It really is. But if you keep the same style all through your city, or in different parts of your city, but like you can see your style in different parts as you keep building. It really makes it seem like your city's kind of more collected and more purposeful and less random. Like the way I used to build, and honestly, just pretty recently in the last series with Mount Vista County, if you watched any of that. And it was a lot of random stuff that just really didn't go together. And I really kind of hated it. So I started changing the way I build. And the way I did that was by just doing things like this, just subtle things like this, putting in trees, clearing out certain areas, putting paths where I usually wouldn't, surrounding important buildings with paths and trees. And it just looks so much better in my opinion. I'm gonna go ahead and clear out these trees here. I don't want them to take up that land at all. That'll be really good to go. Can we clear this little tree in there? And we're in a good place. Look at that. That just looks really good on its own. Really good. I really love this. But now that we have this, we can start looking at expanding a bit of a residential zone around this place. And I think this will be like where we see the most density in this area here, right? Usually I'm against density probably here, you know, but I feel like it kind of works. So I'm gonna go with it and just kind of see how it feels. I want to increase the parking lot sizes in this area just to make it feel a bit more alive. I think parking lots do a very good job at that. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off anarchy and place that there, place that there. Now, can we get rid of those 4 trees? There we go. Get rid of these 4 trees. And I don't like this edge to this. So we're gonna move it, and we're gonna move this down to the very edge of the road. Same thing with this one, very edge of the road. Bring it together. And I hate how that looks. We're gonna push that in a little bit. What's this one looking like over here? Yeah, same thing. Okay. There we go. Now it's up against the road, and I think it just looks a little bit better. Yellow stripes go on there too, but I'm not worried about it. I think it looks fine. And we're gonna go ahead and finish wrapping this road all the way around, making sure we keep that same level of distance all the way through, just like that. Connect that up, make a giant square out of this. And next up, we're gonna finish decorating the area, and the way we're gonna do that is by getting our cultivated green bushes number 2, because I think those look the best in an area like this. And we're gonna fill in the rest of these gaps. We're actually gonna go 5 meters on this because they're a little bit smaller, so you can bring up the density and they kind of fit nicer. And we're gonna just bring these cultivated bushes all the way around. There we go. And I think this would just be a great way to honor the deceased in our city. Every citizen that's came through here, we can obviously, a lot of them go through the crematorium because of the way the game works, but we could imagine having a nice memorial for everybody that's came before us, right? So I think that's really cool to have. Obviously right now it's very empty because there's no deceased and there's only 1 body in here so far. But over time, this thing will fill up, and I think that'll look really cool. This whole area is gonna just feel super nice. Now I want to start zoning this area a little bit, but I don't want to go too crazy with it. I don't want to do anything insane. This is all going to be residential around here. We're not going to have any commercial directly next to this cemetery. There we go. Gonna go ahead and get rid of this zoning here. Get a nice road here. Can we get anarchy on? We can. Just like that. Just like that. Keep all the zoning on the actual main road here. That'll look a lot nicer. Then we can get rid of these paths once you fix your zoning. And now you can zone on this road here. Super nice. Make sure we leave enough space for road expansions here if we're going to. Just like that. That'll start zoning out and fill in nicely. We're not going to put anything else in here besides maybe a few trees. But overall, I think this is going to look really nice. Okay, we're going to pause the game here. Destroy a bunch of these properties. I'm going to back up our land and fix our topography a little bit. And by fix our topography, we're not going to respect it. We're going to completely obliterate it. There we go. There we go. Something like that. Back this hill all the way up. Just like that. I was about to say nothing crazy, but this is actually insane what I'm doing here. But I'm going to live with it. We got this hill to turn completely green. Keep smoothing it out. It usually turns green eventually. There we go. Looks a lot nicer. Smooth this entire area out. Now we can start zoning in these houses, and hopefully they're building a little bit nicer. Yeah, it's a little bit of a dent there. That's nothing too bad, I don't think. Nah, that's fine. I can live with that. Okay. Now this road here, we're going to use for a little bit of commercial because obviously we need commercial in this area. So we're going to go ahead and do something a little bit different. I guess we'll get the parking lot first so we can see what I'm doing here. We've got the wide parking lots. And what we'll do, we'll probably start it here. You're probably thinking this is very excessive, and I guarantee it is, but I'm going to do it anyway because I like it. Okay, we'll go to the end there, go to the end here, and we'll do one more on either side. Where is this overlapping? Is there something built here that I don't see that's overlapping? No. Why is it saying this is overlapping then? See? How is it overlapping with that road? That doesn't make sense at all to me. We'll get anarchy and throw it in anyway. Because I love anarchy and anarchy gets the job done. But there we go. Now we have a little bit more of connections that we can do here. We're going to go ahead and get a little bit of a road going there. Wrap around here. Just like that. And, oh, can we connect that up? There we go. Okay, this turned into like a weird bridge thing. Let's back this up a little bit and rebuild that so it kind of makes a little bit more sense. There we go. Next, we're going to zone in some commercial and maybe a couple of offices in this area. Nothing insane, no high density, things like that. Can we go? Can this be an office? Is this going to work as an office? Maybe not. Okay, some offices. There we go. We can do some commercial all the way through here. And another office or two down here. Same thing over here. We'll do, what is that, a 4x4? 4x4. 4x4 there. Build more offices. We'll do a 4x4 here. Build a couple more offices, and the rest of this will be just some low residential commercial. There we go. Let that fill in nicely. Once there's a demand for office, this will fill up and it'll look a lot nicer, but for now, that's what we have. There we go. Now, obviously, this all feels very weird without more density here. So we're going to provide a little bit more density without going overboard. So we're going to go ahead and go. What's going on here? Oh, I know what's causing that issue. It's these parking lots that are causing that issue. But we'll go ahead and turn on anarchy and it'll just deal with it. We're going to go there. 112. We'll go two more. Yeah, why is this not working correctly? Let's try to fix that. There we go. We'll go 120 there. Can we go up one more? There we go. I like leaving a 2 grid size gap there so I can put in some trees and paths. Just makes the area feel a little bit nicer when you're done with it anyway. I think it's here. No, definitely not there. Maybe one more unit. How did that do that? Let's go ahead and build that road. There we go. And take this all the way up. Just like that. Connect that up. Super easy to go. We'll go ahead and delete that. Or destroy that, not delete. And same thing we're doing over here. Go ahead and do a little bit of a 2 gap. And that should be plenty. There we go. Connect that to here. Connect that to here. And that's going to be pretty much this area. We're not going to zone much more than this. It's a very squared off area, but I like it. There we go. And we're just going to grab our quick zone tools and just zone this whole area up. And it'll just fill in super nicely. Let's go ahead and unzone this, and then we'll zone this manually since it's being weird. I like that. They're obviously going to complain about a little bit of leisure and things like that, so we're going to go ahead and grab a small park. Probably just a small park, and then just squeeze that in here. That'll be fine. They'll be a little bit happier. But as this builds up, it'll feel a bit more natural and start developing a bit nicer, but I've been wanting to do this for a while. I don't know why I held off so long, if I'm being honest. Ooh, I hate this size difference because of this, but I'm gonna try to not go too crazy about it. We'll get our tree brush. We'll get some pine. No, we'll go with some like hickory and things like that. We'll get some hickory. There we go. Get some hickory. Oh, that's kind of dense. Let's slow that down a little bit. Take some of those out. There we go. We'll get some birch in here. There we go. And we'll get a little bit of oak. Maybe a couple of pine trees. There we go. That's about it. Now, obviously, there's a lot of trees where our paths are going to go, but it's going to be fine. We'll just bulldoze right through them and it'll be fine. That'd be horrible, but it's all right. There we go. Go ahead and get a path right here. How is this an invalid shape? Someone tell me, please. No idea. Gonna go ahead and build that there. And get rid of that house. There we go. Same thing we just did, but we're going to do it over here now. We're going to turn off our snappings to make sure that forms correctly. There we go. Just like that. Path going through their house. Not anymore. You're getting evicted. And you're getting evicted. I just realized how bad the terrain is over here. Holy moly. There we go. Pull that out. Oh, there we go. Pull it back just a little bit more. Connect that up nicely right there. Keep smoothing until it's green. There we go. It'll look a lot better. Same thing over here. Build that there. Now I have the game in full speed mode so we can get rid of all the so we can build up faster and everybody can move in and we can get rid of the initial traffic that we're gonna have because it happens in every city you build. Initial traffic is always kind of heavy, so yeah, I want this to move through here as quickly as possible because that's really heavy right now. There we go. Honestly, a small elementary school would fit nicely in this area too. Small high school probably makes sense in this area, but I don't think they have a small high school, do they? They do have a small high school. We'll put this right there. Can we go ahead and get this in here, please? It's not overlapping with anything, so this should fit nicely in here. Ooh, okay, hold on. Could have messed that up. Can we bulldoze the rest of these houses in here? Maybe this one in here too. There we go. All right, destroy the houses that were inside of the school, which is a sentence I'd never thought I would say. But that looks a lot better, and that'll be fine. This is probably excessive on parking lots, but I kind of like it. Now you can't say we don't have enough parking. Because in a lot of cities I build, there's never enough parking. Last thing we're going to do for this area is put some grass and some trees on all of our streets in here. There we go. Put some grass and trees in between on all the roads, and I think that just looks really nice. Next thing I want to do, I know I said that was the last thing, but as I was going, I realized I forgot to put some trees in this area. So we're going to go ahead and put in some lindens all the way through these paths to make sure everything looks well. Probably push that one until there, and then we'll start this one on the other end just to make sure it's a little bit unique. Honestly, though, I feel like this area would be super cool to live in and super cool to walk through. Like, could you imagine walking through this? That'd be so nice. Or walking through the cemetery or something. That'd be so cool to look at. The parking lots also kind of makes sense because I removed all of their home parking. So I guess it kind of makes sense to provide them a little bit of extra space to be able to park and things like that. But I'm really happy with how this area turned out. Wasn't sure what I was expecting, but I think it turned out pretty nice. And I was going to make a connection from this site here into here, but you know that would get so much traffic, and I want to keep just people who are going here creating this traffic and nobody else, and I think that just works very, very well. Yeah, that looks fantastic, in my opinion. You guys could think this is the worst thing you've ever seen. Hey, but I'm enjoying it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. All right, next we got to work on our livestock farms, because right now we are underproducing by a lot. And if we look at our production, it's the least produced thing right now. We only have a 10-ton surplus per month, which as our city grows, this would get eaten up really, really quickly. And the goal is this whole area is to make it so it doesn't become a problem for us, right? That's the biggest reason we're doing this entire expansion. I'm going to turn off anarchy here to make sure we get everything nice and smoothly. And we're going to do something like this. We're not going to connect the roads. We're going to leave that split up like that. I think that'll be fine. And I want to go through and grab our livestock farm and just put one in here right there. I think it looks fantastic. And then we'll do one on the opposite side, and that'll be fantastic too. I'm going to go through and fix this zoning here, and then we'll meet up in a couple seconds. But I think it just brings the area together. I think it fills in this empty area a lot, and I think it's just really cool how this looks. But again, I wish they let you have more modular farms and you could place on your own fields and things like that. I think that worked a little bit better in City Skylines 1 than this. I appreciate the bigger fields and things like that, but I wish they wouldn't limit you so much on all of this, so I don't know. I think so far it's all right. I'm excited for any DLCs they bring for the game, though. It's like you know it's going to be pretty cool, and it's going to work out pretty well. So I'm excited for it. I'm going to go in through here and just paint a little bit of trees here, just to fill in this area a little bit nicer. There we go. I don't like how empty that looked. Some more forest on this side. There we go. Nothing too crazy, just some trees. Got to be careful so I don't. Oh, I did the unthinkable, didn't I? I did. Painted trees inside of houses. All right, I think we're good now. Let's turn off anarchy while I do this, because anarchy lets you abuse people. Zoom in, get that tree out of the way, and grab our different types of trees. Just forest this entire area in, making sure that looks all right. I really wish they would let you select multiple trees at once. That would just allow a bit more freedom on how all of these tools work and things like that, but it's all right. I can live with whatever they give me so far. So far, until I start complaining in their Discord or something, or in the forums. Nah, it's all right. There we go. All right, so I think we did a lot today, and I'm actually super happy with how this turned out. And we're not done with this area. We'll come back next episode, do some cleaning up, and of course expanding this area just a little bit more. Maybe expand our population center just slightly, nothing crazy, and then add some more farms and rural environments going off this way. But I think we did something really cool today, and I'm excited to see how it's going to turn out. So thank you so much for joining me today. Please consider subscribing, and we'll see you very, very soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.